Minister of the Federal Capital Territory here in Abuja, Nyesom Wike, has revoked lands belonging to some prominent Nigerians, including former President Muhammad Buhari, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Ekume, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, and 759 other prominent figures. Well, reports say the lands were reportedly revoked over failure of their owners to pay for their certificates of occupancy, otherwise known as C of O, on the Abuja property. Wike also threatened to withdraw the rights of occupancy of 614 other individuals and companies if they fail to pay outstanding bills for their plots within 2 weeks. The plots are located in the highbrow Maitama 1 district of the Federal Capital. Other prominent Nigerians whose allocations were revoked are Governor of Kaduna State, Uba Sani, former governors Rochas Okorocha of Imo State, Ben Ayade of Cross River, Seriake Dixon of Bayelsa, Shahaba Lafiagiji of Kwara State, Hamad Sani Yerima of Zamfara, and Kabiru Gaya of Kano State. Meanwhile, former presidential spokesperson Garba Shehu to former President Muhammad Buhari says the piece of land reportedly seized by the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja does not belong to the former President Buhari. He says the former president is personally not the owner of the said plot of the land, which is allocated in name of Muhammadu Buhari Foundation. Shehu, in a statement, said the Muhammad Buhari Foundation was itself floated by some utilitarian individuals around him who went about it in a lawful manner with the support of a number of well-meaning persons. He further said they ran into a roadblock in the land department of the FCDA, which handed them an outrageous bill for the issuance of a certificate of occupancy. Shehu is advising those jumping up and down, in his words, in digital space, talking about the rightfulness or the lack of it on the reported seizure of the Buhari's land in Abuja to get their facts right and stop dragging down the name of the former president. Well, let's have this conversation with Lere Olayinka, who is the Senior Special Assistant on Public Communication and Social Media to the Federal Capital Territory Minister, Nyesom Wike. Thank you so much for being on the news.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Great. So, Maitama is a highly sought after area. I mean, one would wonder perhaps that's why you have all these prominent names on the list and not ordinary Nigerians. But they are prominent, they are affluent, they can afford this property, and that's why they went after that area. Why are they failing to pay C of O?
Well, I also don't know. I believe that maybe it could be the normal Nigerian way of doing things. A lot of people never believe that a minister like Wike will come and want to do things the right way. So it will be strange to a lot of people. Like when the advert was published on October 5, and names of these people, like 3,273 or so, if I'm not mistaken, were listed. And they were asked to pay. They were given 2 weeks to pay. And I think 2,511 paid, leaving out 762 that were published today. So I believe that maybe some of them believe that, is it not Nigeria? Nothing will happen. And like I've been saying, in FCT, with Wike as minister, things are happening. And things will continue to happen in the right way.
And how long have these individuals been in arrears? And can you tell us how much is their C of O bills accumulating to? This 759 thereabouts.
The notice that was published today listed what they were owing. So I cannot sit down here and now begin to do tabulation of how this. But what I can say is that they were given enough time. The advert giving them notice of this impending revocation was published on October 5. Names of 3,273 people in the entities were listed. And for 2,511 to have paid, and if out of 3,000 plus, 2,500 plus complied, then it would mean that the notice got to everyone. And maybe this, you see, and let me also say, some people will also like, maybe some people have enough land enough properties. Because if you look at the names there too, some of these people have houses everywhere. They are big people. Maybe they just look at that area and say, let me not waste my time, let me not waste my money.
So why is the land allocated to them in the first place?
That is, I was not there when the land was allocated. Wike was not the minister when the land was allocated. They could, you see, when you are seeking allocation, you say that, oh, you need the land for this and this. Maybe the purpose for which they sought the land, they no longer need it. And that is why, because I won't believe that all these people mentioned will not be able to afford that amount of money. So maybe at some point they just felt that we don't need this thing and let it go. Let it go and let other people that need it come and take it. That
could be one instance, but let's bring in the reply of Garba Shehu, former spokesperson to former President Muhammad Buhari. He's clarifying the instance of the former president's name being mentioned. He said it's the foundation and not the president formally. So let me ask you. From
the advert, from the notice that was published,
it was a foundation.
Buhari Foundation.
Great, but
you know the media normal thing, when they see Buhari, people want to also use headline to sell stories.
But in this instance, let me ask you, can you confirm, can the FCTA determine ownership in such cases where establishments have names of persons, foundations have names of persons? Are you able to identify the true owners of this land?
No,
Is that an instance that perhaps some of these names we are seeing on the list are not even the owners of the land?
Well,
is it possible?
Well, the FCT administration would determine the owners of the land based on documents supplied. Because before you get allocation, you have to you obtain allocation form, and you have to supply information. If it is personal now, for instance, if I'm the one applying, I will have to even supply identity card. That is like I'll supply my NIN, I'll supply my driver license or international passport. So there's no land that will be given to anyone without that person supplying its details of that person that is applying for the land. So you don't just sit back and just say this person take land. No. You have to fill forms, do application, do a lot of things. So the names that were published are the names on the form, the names on the allocation. So that was on the issue of former President Buhari, the name published was Buhari Foundation, Muhammadu Buhari Foundation, not President or Major or General Muhammadu Buhari. But the press choose to pick Buhari out of it and use it as news. That will not be the fault of the FCTA. Okay, but Mr. Garba Shehu also made an allegation, and I think it's a very strong one. He mentioned that the foundation was reportedly given an outrageous bill. That statement we have published. Well, let me finish. It says it was given an outrageous bill for its certificate of occupancy compared to similar organizations. So it does seem like there's variation in well, it is not for... I don't want to begin to join issue with... let me call him Oga Garba Shehu now. Because he spoke for former President Muhammadu Buhari. He cannot at the same time be speaking for Muhammadu Buhari Foundation. You don't understand what I'm trying to say. If he's the spokesperson of President Muhammadu Buhari, he will not be at the same time the spokesperson of Muhammadu Buhari Foundation. So let somebody from Muhammadu Buhari Foundation come and tell the FCTA that they were giving outrageous. And are they the one to also determine what the FCTA would charge for CFO? Because there are different purposes for land. If you want land for residential, if you want land for commercial, the charges will be different. So maybe he's comparing the bill for maybe residential with commercial and all that. And maybe the land that was given to that was allocated to that foundation was even bigger than the one allocated to the other. Because if you take say one plot, which is 1,000 square meter, it is different from the person that has taken 2,000 square meter. You will not pay the same amount. If you look at that advert that was published, you see that the amount listed against people's name were not the same.
So I have two questions from that. But first, let's clarify this Garba Shehu statement. As the former spokesperson to the president, he was in the know of these things because he said this foundation was not done without the knowledge of the president, that the president was aware of it. But he was very categorical. He said it was very high in cost. I'm reading his statement now. It was very high in cost that did not all compare with the bills given to similar organizations.
Maybe because...
So he said similar organizations.
Maybe because, you see, you are not the one. I will not come here now. You invited me to come here. I will not come here to now come and tell you when I should feature, when I should not. You are the one that will tell me when I should feature.
Right. So
no, when you apply to the FCTA for land, you are not the one to tell the FCTA how much FCTA should charge you for CO4. If you believe that the amount charged you is too much, then maybe that was because that was the reason they did not pay. And if they did not pay, there's no like they will say on the street, no qualms now. There's no quarrel. They did not pay.
Okay.
FCTA government has taken back its land, so they will now reallocate to people who are ready to pay. So it's a simple matter.
Great. So the second question I have from this development is, what is the yardstick for determining how much a COO is with the FCTA?
Well, I'm not in the land department. And let me also say this. I took this job like 1 month ago. So if I come here and I start telling you that this is the amount, whatever. But when you are being given allocation letter, what you are to pay will be spelled out. Ground rent for CFO, for RFO, for this and that. And they got that. If you get that, it is for you to accept. It is for you to say, I don't want. So some of them paid part. If you are paid part, it's an acceptance of that letter that you have gotten. So, and like I've said earlier, the purpose will also determine the amount to be paid. It is not the same.
Great. We understand that some of the CFO areas run into many decades.
Some of them 10 years, some of them 20 years.
Great. So how does the FCDA going forward hope to address the issues of unpaid CFOs moving forward? Are there new policies, initiative to ensure that people don't owe this much in areas?
That is
it the deterrent you're
that is what the administration is trying to do. And you remember that like 2-3 weeks ago, about, I think, 9,532 names were published. Again, 9,532. And they were also told that come and make your payment. They were given 2 weeks. So it is more than 2 weeks now. So don't be surprised in the next 1 or 2 weeks you also see that some people see of some CFO, some allocation has also been revoked. Because we cannot continue to run government land. When you are taking government land, you apply for a purpose. You list the purpose, you want to build a house. Yeah. Government land is not a land that you take and keep for people to come and inherit.
Okay. Before I let you go, this is a strong deterrent, no doubt, with the profile and the names on this list. Is Minister Nyesom Wike worried about the likely political and public perceptions this might bring to him?
Worried? He's not. The only thing that man, Wike, is worried about is getting things done the right way. Like he has been saying, the man who they look face, he's not looking at your face. He's not looking at your name. He's not looking at your identity. He's looking at you doing the right thing. If you are doing the right thing, you don't have problem. But the moment you are not, you want to play game, you want to do, and he's saying that when you take government land, pay all your necessary fee. Let me also say this. Before, if you pay for CFO, you don't get until 2, 3, 4, sometimes 2, 3, 4 years. That has changed now.
Okay.
Within 1, 2 weeks, when you pay, you get your CFO.
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, you get your CFO.
Okay. All right. Mr. Lere Olayinka is the Senior Special Assistant on Public Communication and Social Media to the Federal Capital Territory Minister, Nyesom Wike. Thank you so much for being on the video.
You're welcome.